Mental Health Monday.
Another episode of Mental Health Monday.
What I don't like about the profession, I don't like at times that, we have to fight for equal pay as far as, the services that we provide as licensed professionals. And we have to prove it to somebody that's not licensed professional.
Yeah.
I think that makes a shortcoming for the client's treatment, and then kind of burns out therapists. We talked about it earlier. I think that, with the healthcare field and how we perceive ourselves as experts, we set ourselves up for burnout because we think we should have it all together. We should have all this knowledge down. We should know this intervention. We know this change. We should know this agency. We need to be this way in session. We need to be that way in session. We take on that and have all this immense pressure on ourselves to provide and help people, throughout what they need to work through. Yeah. But it's trying to be perfect, and therapy's not perfect. It's not a place where perfectionism exists. Yeah. And so that's kind of embedded sometimes into the profession of what we do, especially in the mental health arena, but also in the therapy arena. Like, we should be, perfect. And I've seen it a lot. Is one of the reasons why I had to get out some of the therapy groups and Facebook, stuff like that, where people will just nitpick certain ways on how you do stuff and then make you feel like you don't know what you're doing. And that's where the imposter syndrome would slip in. Yeah. And so I don't like those type of things. And I also don't like the limiting avenues on what we say would be helpful for somebody, especially black men. Yeah. Right. You know what I'm saying? I think that we should look outside of the box avenues and strategies to help black men in a way that makes sense for us, that reads to us. Right. And even black people in general, like, we should be able to embrace those interventions and things. Yeah. Get reimbursed for it to do just that. Versus,
that's a very important point, getting reimbursed for it.
Yeah, getting reimbursed for it. Why does it? One of the biggest things that I really struggle with is that when we start talking about doing preventative work, whether that be something like Get Home Safe, something like a barbershop group, something
which is large preventative work.
Right. Very, very much preventative work. Yeah. Something like the Goodfellas Project, where we're providing space and support for black men. I find it I really get upset when there is limited funding for preventative efforts. Okay, we want to do one and see where it goes. But if you know mental health, strategies in that piece, one-off is not the best thing. It has to happen consistently.
One-offs don't exist. Right. It takes 3 to 4 years to see the results of the work that we've done. Exactly. And at the end of 3 to 4 years is technically day one of proof. And now you figure out, okay, this is what we do.
Precisely. Yeah. Exactly. And so I've ran into some situations where we're providing support for men in whatever capacity, whether it be in student capacity, whether it be in community capacity, whether it be in, academic capacity. And I've always got the response back, we want to do, the funding is limited, but we want to see it for, see how it goes first. And I get livid because I know, especially for black men, that one session can make or break, but it has to be multiple. Yeah. And it could take 1, 2, 3 years, right? And so I've seen it at all levels. Community, within the agencies, healthcare agencies, academic settings, right? Where we're going to, give you this limited amount for this one time only, or 2 times only, and then that's it. And then, okay, we'll take it from here, or it didn't produce what we thought it would. It wouldn't produce what we thought it would because you have a limited scope on how you see those results. And again, that goes back to the field of healthcare and mental health, where we only react. We don't prevent.
Or, as our young associate that you and I, Marquise, know, if we keeping it a bean, what we've made isn't in the shape or form that they want it to be. Exactly. So one-off is an excuse of, hey, see, look, we helped them and see what they didn't do. This is why we should do it our way.
Yeah, it's perspective.
Yeah. And with stuff like that, honestly, I I think being an early adapter of whether they pay me or not, I was going to do this regardless. So like you offering me money and telling me, well, if you do it this way, we got you. Why should I change what's working in the community if it's for the community? You know, the people, they reach out because we've made a difference. They reach out because they see that we've done something that they either want to be a part of or they want that for their own community. And that says a lot. Like, you've probably had people hit you up about, hey man, can I get advice? I see you do this, that, and the third. What does that look like in my community? Yeah. And I tell folks like, hey, we can't tell you how it looks like in your community. That's your community. Yeah. I can tell you how it's worked here and what my concerns were and what I looked out for. But like, you need to understand, it's going to take you time to become the thing you want to be, which means you're going to have to doubt yourself. You're going to have to correct yourself. And you may need to change out the friends that do work with you on a professional level when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. So you start to recognize who you are and who you're not. Yeah. And then that's where you go from.
I've gotten that question a lot. And I've been trying to work better on giving a better, more clear connection or a clear answer on, you know, how to get to those points. Yeah. But I take issue, like I said earlier, where context, right? And I've also understood that everybody's not like me and how I approach things. Yeah. So it's hard for me to explain at times, you know, as far as how to go about doing it. I could tell you how I went about doing it, but I was grinding. And I don't really want that for you because I don't know if you know, built that way or if you do things that way. I want you to do things your way. Right, that makes sense for you because how I did it might not be, well, one, it probably wasn't the healthiest, but two, it might not make sense for you. Yeah. But three, so what I've been trying to do is point out the potential pitfalls. Like, okay, this is what I dealt with, and you watch out for that because they're not gonna tell you about that. Right. You know, one of the things I tell students when they come into the field of social work is I need you to understand that, you know, you're gonna go into agencies that do not practice or abide by the NASW, which is our guiding practice, our code of ethics, this thing that we live by as social workers.
The big book.
The big book, right? Yeah. You're going to work for agencies that don't abide by that. Yeah. You're going to also work for agencies that might not have the same missions and values that you have or core beliefs that you have. How do you continue to work within those systems of which you don't might have the same beliefs as? Yeah. You know? They're not going to tell you that in class or, you know, in the exam and things like that, you know. So I've shifted my thought pattern. People ask me about that. I try to point out the potential pitfalls that I've dealt with versus showing or telling how I went through it. Right. You know, I've done it in my book. I have that. But again, mindset might be different.
Mindset defines everything. Yeah. Quite honestly.
My mindset is crazy sometimes. Yeah.
But you need that. You need that crazy. You need that edge. You need that amount of energy and execution. Right. It doesn't make sense to them. They never been there. They never imagined it. You know what I'm saying?
My mindset is super disciplined at times. And then it can be super not disciplined but still get the same results. Yeah. You know, so I learned that with like certain friends around me where I'm just like, okay, I want them, I can see the greatness in them and how good they are. And I'm like, you should be doing this, you should be doing, I'm on the top of them. And I was like, you know, it's not yielding the same results. They're not seeing it the same way I see it. Yeah. And they're not me. So let me fall back. Yo, check this out. You might want to think about that and keep it moving. You know, so yeah.
I mean, I'm one of those friends. Right. You say, hey man, be a therapist. And I was like, no.
Yeah. Be a social worker. Come on, be a social worker. Like,
no. And like, you know, I have a valid reason for it. It's, I'm not willing to take the time out of my personal life when I'm already making a difference in people's lives.
Makes sense, yeah.
To go back to school, to come up with money to pay for school, to be in a program, be in a focus, and give 3 years to be what I technically already am or close to. Because you get the degree to become the thing, but if you've already become the thing or you're already accomplishing what the goals are, which is to help people, what does having the degree or saying I'm the thing change from the work that I plan on doing? Because this is the focus of the work.
Right. That's my gripe right now is going to get a doctorate. Yeah. But I'm still leaning. But that's what...
If I get a doctorate, or if you were to get a doctorate, I usually say, after I get this doctorate, what new opportunity or money does this pay me for what I've paid for?
Right.
And we're not even talking about you have to be good on the GRE, and I've never been a good test taker on the GRE.
But let me tell you this, we don't have to take GRE in social work.
Really?
And we got an online program at Virginia State University.
I see your opinion. I see where this is going. I see the steps that you're taking.
Oh, so it's just so easy.
I was going to say, they got a scholarship for your boy?
We can find one.
For me?
Yes, absolutely.
Online courses?
We can, look, don't worry about that.
I got to ask all the right questions. I say it to everybody's face. They know what it is. I'm always going to ask the right questions.